JD.
All right, good morning. We're at 43 degrees right now in central Vermont. I say, just like it did yesterday, it is beautiful. We have some rain in the forecast. We'll give you more details here in just a little bit. Just like I said yesterday. Oh, yes. Details of the forecast coming your way shortly. Deb Phillips is with us from the World newspaper. Good morning, Deb. How are you? Can you hear us all right, Deb? How are you?
Great.
Today's the big day, right?
Today's the big day. Papers are being delivered as we speak.
Talk to me. What's happening? What can we expect in the world today, Deb?
Well, the world has always felt that shopping local is so important. And so we do an annual promotion called Shop Where You Live. We feature one of 10 local businesses each week. The featured advertiser this week is Richard J. Wabi Jewelers in Barrie. They are a family-owned business, been around for 54 years, serving the Central Vermont community. Also this week, we have money-saving coupons on oil changes, tire changeover, inspections. And with Easter this Sunday, we have a listing of Easter worship services.
Ooh, that's some of them real early, right?
Oh yeah, some of them they got not as many sunrise services as there used to be, but yeah, no, but there's a lot of worship opportunities.
Anything else that you can tell us about what's in the World newspaper today? I haven't had a chance to get through last week's yet.
Okay, well, I believe we have the answers to the Easter scramble. So that's really good. And coming next week, we'll have the answers to our Who's Who contest, Who's Who in Central Vermont, and we'll have who are the winners of that contest as well.
Deb, you guys do such a great job.
Well, thank you.
You and Gary and the rest of the team there. Sales at vt-world.com, I believe, is the best way to get in touch with you if somebody wants to do some advertising.
Definitely.
All right. Sounds good, Deb.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Right.
I'll be looking forward to Chris bringing my paper here shortly here on North Main Street in Barrie.
All right. Thanks, JD. Have a good day.
Yeah, is you as well. Always so nice to have you on. We're at about 43 degrees right now. This forecast is unbelievably boring. I'm just going to be honest with you. Cloudy skies in 44. Today, same story tomorrow. Cloudy skies in 32. Tonight. I know G's just loving this forecast, but yeah, we're not taking you to the curvy couch this morning. We're taking you all the way to Peru, New York, where I have a couple of good friends that are standing by. There they are right now. Pat Fish, what's going on, buddy? How the heck are you?
What is up, my man? How are you, JD?
Brother, it is a pleasure. Sweethearts in Heroes Day, as I think most know and expect now, on Wednesdays. And, dude, it's been a long time since I've had you on.
Well, I think we figured out the secret here, JD. Forever I haven't been able to be on your show because Tom keeps me so darn busy. But, I figured, seeing as though it's a school that I've been in so much over the years, and I've met some really great people at Peru, and they've really become a large part of the Sweethearts and Heroes community, that I'd bring on a couple friends from Peru High School.
Please introduce, and this is the school that I was so fortunate up to get up and visit and join the Fish Perspective podcast.
It is.
All right. Introduce these two powerhouses next to you.
I'm Layla. I'm a senior here at Peru High School. I do indoor track and field. I do outdoor track and field, cross country, and I'm also president of the Yup Club.
The what club now?
The Yup Club. It's actually really interesting. Basically our motto is like, how people say don't yuck people's yum?
Mm.
Well, we say we yum your yuck.
Please explain. Carry on.
So basically, like last week we went out around the town and we like picked up dog poop all around town because, the Yuck Club, we got to do the dirty jobs. So we just went around town since the snow all melted outside, and we just picked up the dog poop.
Where did this club come from?
Well,
Can I give you
last
background?
year, yeah, Miss Carter.
Yeah. So my name is Adam Carter. I'm one of the high school counselors here. I've been here for 18 years. I actually co-teach a couple of the leadership classes as well. And I'm actually the advisor of the Yuck Club. So this kind of got expired by the 13 Pillows book that Tom Murphy wrote. The second chapter about broken windows, kind of picking up things and keeping the school looking good and clean. And we thought that's a great idea, but we wanted to take a little bit farther. So kind of doing the really yucky stuff that people don't want to do. And beyond just picking up papers in the hallway, we kind of go a lot further and do the real yucky stuff. Like Layla talked about picking up dog poop, but I advise kids about careers and stuff. And one of the trends is we don't have a lot of people going to manual labor. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't want to do that. So we've got a lot of kids who are kind of inspired by this. And we are doing some things throughout the school that normally people don't want to do, kind of going in the bathrooms and doing some cleaning. And we actually had a plumbing league last week where one of the kids was helping one of our custodians put the wax ring on. So it's actually really cool. Hands are getting dirty, doing a lot of stuff. So it was pretty small last year, but words kind of got around and we've grown. We're up to 25 kids now. So it's going great.
Pat, what are you doing up there at Peru Central School? I know that today
I'm fascinated by this right
Yeah.
now. I did not know that it was Sweethearts and Heroes inspired. That's actually really kind of neat. What's your favorite thing that you've done with the Yuck Club so far, Layla?
Definitely. So probably one of the grossest things, but in the cafeteria, whenever people are like chewing gum, they don't really want to get up out of their seats and like throw it away, so they stick it under the table. So we kind of just like take the scrapers and like scrape it off the bottom of the table, and it's honestly kind of satisfying. Like it's really like fun to do.
Wow. Pat, the look on your face, man.
Dude, were you? I was the opposite of that. I was putting gum under the table.
So was I, and other things.
But they're doing some of the jobs that people don't want to do. That's right. And JD, you want to know what I think is the absolute coolest part about the Yuck Club?
What's that?
That it's not real. April Fools.
Oh, my
Well done, Layla. You got
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm talking about. Good work.
Like shaking my
Layla is
killing
not
me,
a liar
man.
either. So she really had to put her acting skills to the test.
Oh
there.
my God, that was an Academy Award-winning performance right there.
Oh my goodness.
And Pat, here's me revealing that I put other things other than the gum underneath the table. Wow.
Oh,
Oh,
anyways,
you guys got me really good. What do they say on April Fool's Day? They say something like the last person you should trust is your friends.
which is why I knew that I couldn't be the culprit here, and I needed Layla and Mr. Carter to help out here.
Yeah.
And I think they did a really nice job.
Listen, you it was legit. You saw the look on my face. You saw my reaction. You guys got me 100%. Nicely done.
Amazing.
I think we did a crappy job, right?
Oh my gosh. Hey man, today is as we said, April 1st, the beginning of National Poetry Month, Pat. And I know that that you're a poet, you're a writer, you're a rapper, you're a lot of different things. And man, what are you guys going to be doing in the school?
So today, this is one of I have a lot of favorite schools to visit, but this is one of my favorite schools to visit, JD. And, the poetry book, I think we had this discussion the very first time I was on your show, in which, you're bringing a poet on and you're like, oh boy, we got poetry. And I have nothing against traditional poetry, but I think that I would consider my own poetry to be pretty lowbrow humor version of poetry. And roses are red, violets are blue, you're on the toilet taking a poo, all that type of fun stuff, and not so much the
Beautiful.
Emily Dickinson and Walt Whitman poetry that you're looking for.
Mm.
So the thing with boredom school for me is that it's supposed to be fun. And I think the same thing when it comes to school. And both of these two human beings I have next to me, in reality, not in the fictional world of the Yuck Club, but in reality, they are pivotal members of the school community that Peru has built around what they call their leadership class,
Yeah.
which incorporates a large amount of Sweethearts and Heroes work, whether it comes to circles or visiting the elementary school and doing bully drills, things that you've talked about with some of our other team members that have been on here. I can confidently say that I could never show up to Peru High School again, and neither could Tom, and neither could any of our other team members. And they have a good thing going here because of these two and many other awesome human beings that have really gotten the ball rolling. So I'm visiting some classes that are functioning without my help and having some fun, adding in some interesting games and doing some interesting stuff and keeping people on their toes so they don't know what to expect. But really, they have a good thing going here. I think, Layla, how many circles you've been in since you started at Peru?
Probably like 20, like more than 20, a
Way more.
lot.
Way
A lot.
more.
So, Layla, explain to us, for folks that may not be familiar, and man, I wish I was doing this when I was in high school. What is Circle? What is that experience? How often is it done at your school?
So we actually have a class for like our circles and our leadership. So for me right now, I'm actually taking it as an independent study. So this year I can kind of just like pop into circles as it goes. Like first period, if I'm not doing much, I'll like go into the classes that they have. So we do have the option, like if you really want to be like involved in leadership, but you like don't have the time in your schedule to actually do it, you can just take it as an independent study, which is really interesting. We still do all the work that everyone does. We like have went to CVPH to give presentations to the board just about like funding and everything and about like what we are. And so even as an independent study kid, I have the opportunities to do everything that a normal class would do. So like the classes are basically set up where like you walk in, either you can have a circle that day, you can just like do games that day. Kids go to the elementary school a lot to do bully drills. Yeah.
So what's a circle?
A circle? Well, you sit in a circle. And you can talk about anything. You can talk about like funny things. You can get really deep into a circle. Really like anything you want to talk about. You can talk about the weekend. You can go into depth. You can just hit like surface level. You have some rules to circle, like no talking without the talking piece. What's said in circle stays in circle. Like the talking piece only goes like one way around, and confidentiality is key.
You guys call it a talking piece. I call it a microphone. But yeah, that's probably one of the hardest things, at least from my perspective of Circle, is that if you don't have that microphone in front of you, you're not talking, you're listening. Not easy to do.
No, not at all. And Mr. Carter here is an awesome counselor at this school, but he also is one of the teachers of this course, which has been a really cool thing to see. A lot of times stepping out of being that counselor role and going into teaching a course gives some interesting perspectives and lets you connect with a bunch of students, which you don't always get the opportunity to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this for 18 years as a counselor, so this is kind of breath of fresh air, doing something different to spice up my career. And it just lets me hit more kids and work with them. We're really, the message is to build a positive school environment and really create a level of confidence with these kids that they can be themselves and not worry what other people think about themselves. Because I think you get a lot of teenagers who try to conform to fit in, and that's not what we're about. We embrace diversity and being unique. So that's one of the big messages that we put. And I've had the pleasure of having Layla in my class for 2 years. So I've watched her grow into the impressive young woman that she is today.
I want to throw something at all three of you here. When I was up at Peru Central School and sat in on Circle and a podcast, I honestly, and Pat, I don't know if you knew this, but it was my first circle experience, and I wasn't familiar with it. I didn't know what the rules were, and I got a couple of dirty looks from Tom, who was part of the circle, when I attempted to speak out of turn, not knowing the rules of listening, and the art of listening, and the daily practice of listening. And you know me, I'm a pretty inquisitive guy. I've got a lot of follow-up questions, and I just couldn't do that. I went into, and if you go back and watch any of that tape, you'll see that I kind of went into a little bit of a panic, because I was looking around for a pen, a pencil, a piece of paper, so that I could keep track of what was being said, so that I could go back afterwards and ask follow-up questions. But here's the thing about these students that are doing this, is that maybe they're allowed to take notes, maybe they're not. I don't know. You guys can tell me. But even if they, regardless of whether or not they are or not, it gives a portal, an opportunity for those kids who are forced to listen to do their own follow-up questions, whether it's a week later, 2 weeks later, whether it's at school, off school, at the grocery store, on the school bus, whatever. How are things going? Has your situation improved? Has it changed? I've got a similar story, and you know, it's a conduit to bring people together.
100%. I'm not sure what the question was there, JD. It was more of a statement, but I think what you're getting at is the idea that this listening that we're doing, and this communicating that we're doing when we're sitting in circle, whether it be with young people, adults, it's okay to not take notes, and it is okay to be flustered by all the information that's coming in, because you're not there to perform when it gets to your turn, which is something that's a little bit different for you specifically, because what are you doing right now, JD? You are entertaining people. There's people listening to you for a reason. And I think when the podcast is done at Peru, that's a challenge to transition into that mode, because you want to say things that people want to listen to. But once you're in circle, I always push against that and say, speak from the heart when it gets to your turn, and then take the rest of the opportunity to just listen. That's okay. And yeah, there's going to be tidbits of information, but I always think the best facilitators, when I'm training students, when I'm training educators, are the ones that don't feel so flustered that they have to respond to every little bit in detail, and instead take all the information that's coming in, boil it down to a consensus, and steer the conversation in a new direction. Sort of like what's been done at the dinner table for hundreds of years, right? Yeah. You hear what people are talking about, and okay, this conversation's getting a little stale. That's where I think JD would be an awesome circle facilitator, is that you know where to steer the conversation to next. So instead of just responding to one at a time, you take the collective of what people are saying and saying, okay, and next, this is what we're going to talk about. Let's bring the conversation in a new direction.
Have any of you ever finished a circle and just been like, whew, I got to process what has just been received by my ears, and I need to digest this for a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I've been in many circles personally where after we ended the circle, we just sat there for a couple minutes and just kind of took it all in. It's really interesting on the feeling of everyone in the room. You just feel so connected with them that you just sit there for a second and you just enjoy everybody's presence. You all know everything you've been talking about, but then you can also trust them all not to go out and say something to other people about it.
Yeah. Mr. Crowder, I see you nodding your head. You want to add something to that?
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off of that, what's so important, what I've noticed in the classes is as the year progresses on, we develop comfort with each other, and then you open up more, and that trust is developed. And you see kids from different backgrounds who normally want to talk. So say, for instance, the basketball superstar with the person who's good in the band and an artist or something like that. I've had classes with wide diversity of kids who are to different things who normally want to converse, have become really tight and close. And you find out that maybe on the outside, you think you have a lot different, but once you do these circles, you actually really have a lot in common, and we're going sometimes through the same struggles. So that's what really brings us together, and that bond is so strong.
Yourself, your principal there, kudos to your administration. You guys really get it, frankly. And this is, I don't know how many years you've had Sweethearts and Heroes on board at the school. You tell me.
I think 4 years, I think we're going on. This is my third year involved. So yeah, there was involved 1 or 2 years, I think, before me. So yeah, it's it's spread. We're up to level 1, level 2, and level 3, and hopefully this keeps going, because I think it's one of the best things I've ever been part of. And I wish every school in America could do this, because it's so important, so much more important than learning math, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's developing that connection and mental health, and just talking about the struggles we're all going through.
There's so many different tentacles to Sweethearts and Heroes. The student teacher empathy program is just one of them. Any of you can speak to that?
The step pro.
I'm not like involved. I did.
You presented last year, right?
I didn't.
You didn't.
No.
Okay.
I was going to, but then my partner had like graduated, and I just never
makes it a little bit
continued.
difficult.
Yeah.
It's a really neat thing that I think every school it looks a little bit different at. This school, it's kind of been baked into part of the course, and there's other schools that might do it as just a program and attempt to have students go down, but the time spent building these presentations and having them go down to the elementary students and presenting to them, yes, it's valuable. Yes, it is more efficient than Tom and Rick presenting at different schools all over the place. But I think the true value in the STEP program is that time spent essentially public speaking, and not that public speaking is going to be everybody's future career, but the nervousness and the vulnerability that goes along with that, you are going to have uncomfortable conversations in your life. You are going to have to go in front of people that you're a little bit nervous about going in front of in your life. And this is great practice for that in a pretty non-threatening environment. And you're doing it with other students who are also attempting to go present at the elementary school and work on a presentation. And I've seen some great presentations. I've seen some ones that are but at the end of the day, everybody's working towards the same direction. And I think that's what's really special about it, is because it's a class program, whatever you want to call it, depending on the school that you're in, where these students are putting themselves out there, becoming vulnerable, and stepping in front of a room full of people to talk to them about being superheroes, and young impressionable people too, that are going to be very excited about the high schoolers coming down, because they're naturally the coolest people in the whole community when you're in elementary school.
Pat, your dad was just recently on the air with me, superintendent up there. What kind of conversations do you guys have?
My dad and I?
Yeah.
Well, weirdly enough, we did fix a toilet ring this past weekend, which is why we got talking about the Yuck Club to begin with. So besides that, and talking about how bad the Jets are, I've learned a whole lot from having conversations with my dad. And, sometimes I'll get home from a school and I'll just pick his brain as far as not individual Sweethearts and Heroes programming stuff, but more so understanding how a school community works. And it just makes me look at things a little bit different when I step into that principal's office, because I grew up there. I grew up in the principal's office, not in in trouble way, Layla, every once in a while, but more so, I grew up in the principal's office, showing up to school early because I had to get there early because he had to get work done before school. And when you sit there and you see how it operates, you start to pay attention and look at little differences in those other principals' office, and see how those little broken windows might trickle into the rest of the school community, right? If you go into a principal's office and it looks like a disaster, well, what's that saying to the rest of the school community? Well, things are going to be unorganized here, and things are not going to run as smoothly as they should be. And sometimes you meet teachers and they say certain things about certain programs that they have in place, and because of that, I think I just have a little bit lifelong of an understanding of the way that a school operates and how to make small changes and how those small changes can have big impacts.
Did you get a chance to see that episode that I had with your dad?
Well, I didn't watch it. I listened to it in the car because I'm always driving different places. So I listened to the whole thing. That day when I got out of the school that I was in, I listened through all of it. So unless you were doing cool like dance moves or anything, I don't think I missed anything from just listening to it.
Oh, you missed some very serious dance moves, man. Your dad is he's so proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Box of tissues.
Yeah, yeah. You know, he's an awesome human being. I've learned a whole lot from him. Great guy, and that's about all I can say on the topic. I have been to many schools. He was on a middle school board for years in New York State, so there's a whole lot of schools where I've gone to where they've hit me with the fish. Are you Mark's son? And yes, I am Mark's son. And then you work your way through it. I'm always excited when they know my mom. She was a gym teacher for years, and I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. But I'm lucky to have grown up in the household that I grew up in. I had some amazing older sisters, had amazing parents, and I've met a whole lot of young people that aren't blessed with that life growing up. And I can say that I'm a lucky human being for the way that I grew up.
Layla, you're a senior?
Yeah, I'm a senior.
There's a lot of kids at this school, at Peru Central School. A lot.
Yeah, there is a lot.
What's the number, Mr. Carter?
Around 1,000.
And how many guidance counselors are there?
3 in the high school.
Just 3.
Just 3. I'm a busy man.
What do you say to, and Layla, I got a question for you here in a minute, but what do you say, Mr. Carter, to students who are frankly lost, not sure of the path that they should be on, the direction they should be pushing towards? It's a lot of pressure. There's pressure from other friends who are maybe going to college, maybe not going to college, maybe going to college but taking a year off first. There's pressure coming from parents, from family members. What do you say to someone who's in your office and they're like, I know I'm in my junior year, or maybe I'm in my senior year and I just don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to be. I'm not sure, and I'm peaking out with stress on this.
Sure. I think I'm kind of an outlier with this because I don't believe that an 18-year-old should necessarily know what they want to do when they graduate from high school. I think it's wrong that we put this pressure on them because there's a reason the average person changes their career 5 times because they're young. They are young adults, and a lot of them still have life to live before they're truly, I think, ready to settle down. So, yeah, I get a lot of those every year, and I tell them it's not a big deal. There's no pressure. If you're not ready for college, don't go. College isn't for everybody. So, yeah. I'm not one to push one way or the other. I'll support whatever they think, and if they even don't know what they want to do, I just reassure them that is okay. Because I'm 43 years old, and sometimes I don't know what I want to do. But,
Sure.
Still things I'm thinking about. So that's kind of the avenue I go out with now.
Layla, some of us spend our whole lives just trying to figure it out, and there's nothing wrong with that. But do you have an idea of what direction you want to go in? What are you going to do?
Yeah. So for me, it's kind of the opposite. I've always really known what I've wanted to do. Ever since I was little, I wanted to go into the medical field because my mom was in the medical field. And now I'm going to CVPH radiology program. So I'm going to become a radiologist in 2 years. So I've wanted to do that since 9th, 10th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you
So
believe? Do you? Yeah, I was just going to ask you. Do you believe if you want to do something badly, by God, you're going to do it?
Yeah, actually. So I last year I tried to get into New Visions, which is like a program through CV Tech, and it's basically where like the seniors can like go into they like miss half the day here at school, and they go into the hospital and they learn there. They get like their math and science credits there, and I really really wanted to do that, and then I didn't get in.
Mm,
I had an interview, I wrote an essay, I did everything, and I didn't get in. And I thought that was like the end of the world. I was like so upset.
mm.
And I thought there was no chance in me getting into the radiology program through CVPH because they only take 14 people every year. So I was like, there's no chance I'm gonna get into this if I didn't get into New Visions. And I don't know, I was just talking to my mom about it, and I was like, I really want to get in, but I know I'm not going to get in. I had so much doubts in myself. You just really got to believe in yourself. Like that's the one thing that I kind of stand by is like everything happens for a reason. So I truly think that like I didn't get into New Vision so I could take the classes here at school, and then that would help like advance my application for the radiology program, and I got into radiology, and now that's what I'll be doing after high school.
I love that. Pat, go ahead. I know you want to say something, man.
I, kind of connecting those two questions you had for the questions you had for both of them. Um, when it comes to those students that aren't really sure and don't really have a game plan, and I think those students, whether it's having a game plan or not having a game plan, as you said, I don't think that matters too much. I think a better predictor of success is how you respond to the situations that Layla just brought up. How do you respond to failure? Because no matter what field you're going to go into, you're going to have days where you show up and the tech isn't working, right, JD? You're going to have days where you show up.
That never happens, ever.
Never happens ever. But, you might get laid off in your future. The job that you go into, the field that you might go into when the world changes, all of a sudden might not be a real job anymore, right? So you got to be able to pivot and go in the best direction and say, this terrible thing that happened, like Rick getting blown up in Iraq, he says that's the best thing that ever happened to him. So if you're able to take that perspective on those difficult situations in life and say, okay, bring it on, I'll try something new. This is what's meant for me. Then you're going to be a whole lot better off in life than somebody who's like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And if that doesn't work, then I don't know what I'm going to do at all.
Yeah.
I'm going to panic. So being able to have that flexibility and adaptability, I think, is super important.
Yeah. Mr. Carter, is that what you push?
Yeah. Layla has always been a super motivated student, so she's made my job easy. I'll go on record and say she probably got into that program because of my letter of recommendation. We'll leave it at that. No, I mean, she did all the work and she deserves all the credit and success that she's attained. But yeah, I'm so proud of her because she was in my office super upset when she didn't get in, but I reassured her it's going to be okay. And this is part of life. Life is literally a roller coaster of ups and downs, and she had it down and she persevered. She got through it and she's in a good place now. So that's the mindset I kind of take with all these kids because that is life. Life is not easy.
Yeah.
For the school community, JD, and you're gonna have to shrink your head down after these two comments, Layla. I apologize, but I just spoke game planning for this prank while Layla was in whatever class she was in. I just sat down. They have a little senior lounge area, and I sat down with a eclectic mix of students that was sitting on this couch, and I'm telling them that, hey, we're gonna prank this JD guy on this radio show. I'm bringing a student on, and they're like, who you having on with you? And I'm like, Layla, and they're like, oh, that's perfect. No one would ever expect Layla to prank anybody. She's so nice. She's so. And
well, nobody would expect Layla to look at what a pretty girl. She's not going around picking up dog poop. Come on.
Should have worn my sweatpants and Nike sweatshirt.
But I do think that the New Visions program is awesome. I've met a lot of awesome students that have gone to this program, but a little bit selfishly for the Peru school community, having Layla here for a full day is a pretty awesome thing.
Absolutely.
Because she definitely benefits not just herself, but all the people around her in her school.
Yeah. Layla, you carry yourself very, very well. I want to ask Pat here, and I don't know, maybe he was expecting this, maybe not. Pat, when are you going to become a dad?
Wouldn't it be weird as if he didn't know? Like, JD, I could tell you more stories of the disaster of times where I've run into this issue with students, because I've been asking students, hey, what should I name her? And you ask second graders that, and they come up with, one kid told me Chipotle, which is really awesome. But
Wow.
I had
Like
I had
that.
this like first grade group in Salem, New York, and I'm like, so I didn't tell you guys this, but I'm having a baby in April. And this girl goes, but you're a boy. And I'm like, correct. My wife is having a
There
baby
you
in
go.
April.
There
So
you
April 23rd is the due date. Now that doesn't mean that she's going to come out on April 23rd, obviously, but yeah, anytime soon.
What is it that you are like? And I think I said this to your dad. I know I've said this to Tom. Man, this kid is going to be lucky to have you as a dad. You have learned. You've got some real tools in your pocket, man. You've learned an awful lot from Sweethearts and Heroes on how to trudge forward. But what is one of the big takeaway items for you saying, I'm going to become a dad, and at some point my little girl is going to be going through, second, third grade. We're going to be learning about differences and sharing and arguing and maybe even transitioning into some bullying and stuff like that. What are some of the big things where you're like, man, I'm locked and loaded. I'm ready for this.
No, let's not record this part. I outside of Sweethearts and Heroes, I've benefited from growing up in a awesome community around some awesome people. The people that I've met through doing Sweethearts and Heroes, the awesome teachers that are parents, and some of the awesome young people. I think some of the pressure is taken off when you meet that young person that is absolutely amazing, and you realize their dad's been in prison their entire life. And I go, okay, well, hope I don't go there. Let's check that off on the list, right?
Yeah.
And not that I'm not saying the bar is low. I do want to do an awesome job in raising my child. But I've met some really amazing young people that have come from difficult backgrounds. And JD, to be honest with you, I do the same strategy that I've been using for the last 8 years of my life, which is circle. I have asked different grade levels across the board for the last several months. First question, yeah, I ask, hey, what should I name her? And you get some fun ones. You let kids make some jokes. You get some serious ones. But then I'll go, the part that I'm really nervous about? I don't know what my rules are going to be yet. What rules should I have? And, in second grade, you might get some things like always be nice and, no swearing. And then you get the kid that's like, don't climb the fence in the backyard. And I'm like, you climbed the fence in the backyard, didn't you, buddy? But when it comes to high schoolers, I've gotten some unbelievable advice. High schoolers that look at me and go, dude, don't give her a phone until this time. High schoolers that look at me that are like, one kid goes, you're having a girl? Rip the door off its hinges. And then the next girl's like, no, don't do that. Give her privacy. But each input from different people, we always say about circle, when human beings play with ideas together, the group intelligence goes up as a whole. And every circle that I've sat in, I've become a little bit more prepared because I've learned some really great things. Now, I'm not able to do circles with 1-year-olds or 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds or even 4-year-olds. So those are the ages that I'm most worried about. But once she gets to 5, I have a lot of practice. Yeah, super excited to be a dad. I'll blabber your ear off about her. She's not even born yet, and I'm already blabbering the kids about her. So, yeah, very exciting stuff.
Tell me about the diaper that you bring along and how that whole thing might change now.
So that's my buddy Joe.
Oh, that's Joe. Oh, that's right. That's Joe. That's Joe.
Yeah. So and this is an
It's
interesting
Josiah.
thing.
Yeah.
I've never shown you this before, JD, because I didn't bring it in last time.
Oh, yeah, man.
Here's mine with all my fun little bracelets on here. And when I brought Joe to a couple of different schools, the very first thing I did was I found out his favorite superhero, and he said Iron Man. And I had an old Iron Man in mind, so I gave him Iron Man. I said, okay, Joe, that's your superhero. And then, we all got our superheroes. We got Spider-Man. I got, Moana's a really great superhero. We got even, Sid from Toy Story. What an amazing one.
Wow.
I got this. Dude, fourth grader looks at me. I go, who's the least evil movie villain? It was Sid from Toy Story. I'm like, the evil kid that tries to blow up Buzz and Woody? He goes, he doesn't know they're alive. That's a wise thing from a fourth grader. So I had to add that to my collection. But when we brought Joe on board, and I said, hey, look, I have Iron Man in here. Tom's got Spider-Man and a couple of his other things. I got all these bracelets that I've been given from students that I'll use to set up Circle. Don't try and copy us, dude.
Yeah.
Be yourself. And I go, what about you are you going to put in there? A lot of the stuff that you're going to have in there eventually is going to be built from the students that you meet and the stories that you hear, but you should have a little bit of you. So the next day, Joe shows up and he's got diapers with him. And I'm like, okay. He's like, dude, I got these for days. I can use these nonstop. And over time, it formed into now he's got diapers with poop squishies on the inside of it, which is even better because when you unwrap them, there's poop on the inside. But yeah, Joe's awesome at facilitating circles, and he's a great member of our Sweethearts and Heroes team that's been on board for a couple of years. I'm super proud of him as well.
Well, maybe you can get him a real one.
A real poop. Yeah, Yuck Club. We'll go to the president.
Yes, go to the president.
We've got plenty.
You guys are what you do in the schools, man. All of you is just so amazing. Loudon and Josiah and Brian and yourself, Pat. It's just this is not the Tom and Rick show anymore.
Thank goodness. No,
Right.
no. Yeah, they've been on the road for a really, really, really long time. I was at a school yesterday where I hadn't been yet. They had presented a couple weeks ago. I'm like, yeah, you met my two old bald friends. One was in the UFC, he was kicking and punching people. The other guy got blown up, and kids are looking at you like. But to me, yes, you can joke around and pick on your friends a little bit, but when I say old bald friends, I learned that teasing from them. They've teased each other for years, and I think that teasing one another is a good sign that a community is really close, and we tease each other relentlessly, which is why I felt that it was important to prank our friend JD, because you've been helping us out a lot by having us on the air, and we appreciate you a whole lot. So I wanted to make sure that we played a little Sweethearts and Heroes joke on you today.
Well, you guys did it. You 100%. You did an outstanding job. Being April Fool's Day. I was going to ask. Mr. Carter this, but I think I'd rather ask Layla. What usually when I have Sweethearts and Heroes on, I kind of close out with this question. And we just got a comment here. How can we get them into a school here in Central Vermont? What do you say, Layla, to any school, whether it's a superintendent, whether it's a principal, any administrator, or even a parent, that is not familiar with Sweethearts and Heroes? What's the way that they can learn more, and what's the way that the administration can maybe go to the next powers that be and say, look, at least get on this website. We need to get them into our school.
I don't know, that's kind of a tough question because, I like learned about Sweethearts and Heroes through when I was little. I was probably in like middle school and we had the presentation. And that really just like, I think the presentation that the whole Sweethearts and Heroes team gives is so like captivating to like school kids that they're just like interested after, and being able to like go ask you questions. Like I remember when the assembly happened, like a couple of my friends were like, oh, I have some questions for them. And Mr. Barry was like, go ahead, go ask them. And you guys were just like so open to like questions. So like probably the administration should probably just, try and reach out to people and maybe like bring it out to the school, maybe have like an assembly or get all the kids together, have an announcement or something saying if you're interested in something like this or interested in the Sweethearts and Heroes, maybe have like a 10th period or like a little meeting and have people like meet somewhere and talk about it and reach out to Sweethearts and Heroes and get them out there, because I know you guys travel all over. So
Mr. Carter, what do you say?
It's all about the buy-in from the top down. And we are fortunate here that our superintendent and all of our administrators really believe in this program, because it does. It spreads. This was not a quick process. I remember doing a lot of circles in the beginning with a lot of the teachers here, and some of them definitely didn't have buy-in to this. It's really hard, I think, for some people to be vulnerable and open up and talk about problems, specifically men. And, I think about the classes I've had the last few years. The amount of males that have now joined my classes has gone up exponentially, where I remember my first year, I think I had one in there. Because the reality is, society kind of puts it out there that women can be emotional and talk about their problems, but guys got to be tough and hold in their emotions. And, we're trying to break that stereotype. And I think we're slowly doing that. So, that person who messaged in asking, how do we get this in our school? It's got to be a top-down approach where the administration and superintendent and school board all buy into this. And again, we're fortunate that we have that here.
Mr. Fish, take it away.
Yeah. Look, any schools that are interested, I said this week. I've said it to many administrators. The way to get this growing in your school community, yes, it might start with a presentation. Yes, it might start with a circle visit, whatever it begins with. But the way to do it, well, it is top down. It can't be forced either.
Right.
And
Right.
A lot of the teachers that, might not necessarily have loved circle in the beginning, they weren't forced to regularly sit in circle here. What happened was other classes that wanted to do circles did circles. Other teachers, counselors that wanted to be involved with this got involved with this. And then all of a sudden you start to get oh, what's going on here? That's interesting. And then they get to go in out of their own interest versus being forced to do something. So while it is a slow process, I think it's a worthy one, because, the young people of today are who's going to be there for each other at the end of the day. So we got to train them with the right skills to do that, right skills to turn them into Layla, who can, be a not only a good example, but somebody who reaches out to those people who don't know what they're going to do in the future and really don't know what's going on with their life, and say, hey, it's all good. We're here for each other.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's the bottom line. We're all here for each other, and we all bring something unique to the table with our life experience, and we've got to learn from it. We've got to share. We've got to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, and just communicate with each other. I mean, COVID didn't do us any favors, but you guys are, if there's any kind of barriers that have been put in front of us, you guys are destroying those barriers, Pat. You're doing an outstanding job, man. You really are.
Thank you, JD. Appreciate you, man.
Listen, I want to close out this morning by saying it's not often that I'm jealous, bro. I'm jealous of you, man. You've got the retro free hugs shirt. I don't have one of those. How did you have to spend a lot of money to have that custom made? How did you get that?
So I got this year, and I love Tom. Tom's awesome. Tom, like 4 years ago, printed a free hug shirt for me that had the wrong website on the back. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start ordering my own. And so I started ordering my own. And at first I just ordered similar ones. And then I think it was last year, some students made the comment of like, hey, you should do our school color. And I was like, yeah, I should. And then I was like, what if I did a bunch of different school colors of the schools that I'm in all the time? So I tried to, as much as possible, if I'm showing up to a school, to really become a part of that school community. And I think that this is as close as we can get to that Peru blue. So today I'll be blue, and tomorrow in Ticonderoga I'll have on my purple.
What a story. And the other thing I'm jealous about, man, is the hair. I mean, it's so retro. It goes with the shirt. I mean, you got the locks of love right there, brother.
All right, we're gonna hang up on you pretty soon, JD.
Thank you, buddy.
You look at the same guy that I am, JD. You look at the same guy as me. Get that vision check.
Be well, guys. Thanks for the laughs. Thanks for the fun. Thanks for the Yuck Club prank on April Fool's Day. I should have seen it coming, especially with you, Pat. And I didn't. I was distracted by a few things this morning, which set you up.
I was loving that. It worked out perfectly.
Stay well, guys. God bless you, and thanks for everything that you do.
Thanks, JD.
Hope to get up there to Peru Central School at some point again. It would be fantastic. Thanks, guys, so much. Yeah. Wonderful people. That's what it's all about right there. Listen, take good care of one another today. Reach out to a friend, a neighbor, double check on them, make sure they're good. They're okay. All right? After you pull that April Fool's joke on them. Tomorrow, it's going to be interesting here on Aired Out. Old Chucky is going to be coming in here. Yes, we're going to have a laugh, but we're also going to get serious. It is very much unscripted tomorrow here on Aired Out. G's going to set this place on fire on Friday, and then on Monday, you ready for this? A guy by the name of Josh Foster is going to be my guest on Monday. His family, and he and I have been chatting, his family owned the Dugout Restaurant for a long time. From 1981 up until somewhere in the 90s, early 90s, I think. Fond memories as a kid growing up at the Dugout Restaurant with his parents. He's going to come in here, and we're going to have a rather candid conversation. Not only about what a great restaurant it was, what a fantastic staple it was here in our community, but we're also going to talk about the here and now. And I'm going to get his very much unfiltered take, a lot of which I purposely have not asked him over the phone in our conversations, because I'm waiting for a live microphone to hear what he has to say. But I'm going to throw some zingers at him, and you're going to hear and see his reaction to that as it is. What we can all, or most of us, come together on and agree about. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. Stay well, everyone. God bless. Catch you tomorrow morning. Chucky, right here on the Aired Out Podcast.